Looking ahead to Saturday, obviously we've just spoken that the mood after the North London derby will entirely hinge on the result. You either go into the Villa game bouncing because you've returned to winning ways against your biggest rivals, or a nightmare week gets even worse. But looking ahead as far as we can right now, obviously Villa have got another game before that as well. This looks like a difficult game. Arsenal won 2-0 at Villa earlier in the season, but this feels like an Aston Villa side beginning to pick up a bit of momentum now, and it is another difficult home game in what has been a challenging period for Arsenal.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And last year's game at home to Aston Villa ultimately cost Arsenal the title with that defeat about 6 games from the end. And I think everyone remembers that game very, very well. It's going to be scarred on a lot of people's memories what happened in that second half of that game. Villa always seemed to cause Arsenal problems at the Emirates as well. It doesn't matter who's in charge. Just got a bit of a knack throughout the years of picking up some good results at the Emirates. And kind of look at the way Villa play, fairly strong defensively, like to play on the counter-attack, got pace down the flanks. They're perfectly set up to cause Arsenal problems, and that'll be a really difficult game for Arsenal. It's tough to look beyond the Tottenham match because I think, like you said, the sort of narrative, everything is going to be sort of dependent on how that result goes. But it's just another big game, isn't it? They just keep coming thick and fast. It doesn't matter who. Every single time you sort of look further ahead at what's to come, and it's like, oh my God, you've got Tottenham, then you've got Aston Villa at home. So it's going to be really, really difficult. But again, it kind of, if you want to win the title, and Arsenal do, despite all the issues they're struggling with at the moment, they still want to win this title. They still believe, if you ask them, that they can win this title. These are the games you absolutely have to win, especially when you factor in that Liverpool have got Forest, and then they've got another tricky game, sort of escapes who they got at the weekend, but it's a tricky game, isn't it, away from home again for Liverpool. And you've got to win these games and try and put as much pressure on them as you can. So, difficult game against Villa, but another one that they just simply have to win.
And very quickly, in that Villa game, will there be a few Arsenal fans keeping an extra close eye on Ollie Watkins? Because his name hasn't been linked as much as I thought it maybe would be. It has in the past, but around this, this latest round of speculation hasn't been linked maybe as much as I would be as a potential candidate for that centre forward role.
No, he hasn't really. He's a massive Arsenal fan, Ollie Watkins,
yeah.
And he has in the past been linked with Arsenal, but it's certainly gone a little bit quiet. I've seen more links to Duran than Ollie Watkins recently. I mean, he'd be great, Ollie Watkins. Certainly, you look at, is that an opportunity there? The fact that Duran's now playing more and more for Aston Villa, and Watkins has found himself on the bench recently. Could you go in and put a cheeky offer in for someone who can play out wide or can play as a central striker? He would tick an awful lot of the boxes. It's one of those ones that falls into the category of not much sort of resale value or anything like that if you're going to invest in him now, given his age. But he would certainly improve Arsenal. He'd improve the squad, and he's sort of player who'd be able to hit the ground running straight away, which is what you want when you sign you make a January signing. So, yeah, I mean, it would absolutely be perfect for what Arsenal are looking for. I'd highly doubt that it's something that could ever get off the ground, however. But, he caused Arsenal a lot of problems last season, and fingers crossed that they'll be able to keep him more quiet this time around.